Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review for Star Wars Rebels, episodes 10 and 11 of season 4. So I pretty much have been watching the show since day one. I was a huge fan of the Clone Wars, but when I found out this was going to be on Disney XD, I was a little bit worried about the content because, on Cartoon Network, you're able to do a lot more. But so far, I really enjoyed the show. So these episodes, we only have I guess after this, 4 or 5 more episodes left. And then it's the end, which is, I think it's exciting. Dave Filoni has the opportunity to kind of end the story, whereas before he didn't get that with Clone Wars. And so I'm sure he has an overall arc that he knows that he wants to end on, which is great. And I'm very much looking forward to that. So the odd thing about this episode for me is so much happened, but in a really odd tone. I mean, you could kind of tell from the beginning of the episode, at least episode 10, that we were in for something different. It was very spiritual. It seems like Ezra goes on a lot of spiritual journeys. I was watching this with my boyfriend and he was like, "What's up with this kid? He's always on a journey in the middle of nowhere to find himself." And I'm like, "You just watch the episodes where this happens to him, but it doesn't happen to him all the time." But yeah, so it starts off with Kanan giving Ezra the responsibility of taking the lead to go get Hera because he knows that he's in love with her. And then we have Kanan, who's also Caleb Dume. He goes and cuts his hair. And I'm like, okay, so he's cutting his hair. He's kind of it almost seems like he's accepting that he's not Kanan anymore. He's accepting who he is, and he is Caleb Dume, which I thought was really cool. But what I wasn't expecting, so I thought he was going to cut his hair. They were going to save Hera. And then, kind of go on. And I expected him to die, but not so early. I was like, whoa, it was shocking. I thought for sure they were going to save him at least until the last couple of episodes. But Dave Filoni went for the kill, which was kind of impressive. And then it was good too because we finally saw Thrawn actually, because all the time, this is my problem with Thrawn. So I read canon books now, but I didn't read any of the Legends books growing up because I kind of knew that they weren't canon, and I just didn't get into them. And everyone hyped up Thrawn so much, but every episode, it's always like, they got away, but they're falling right into my plan. It's almost like an old cartoon villain that you kind of laugh at. And that I don't like that. I don't like that they've made this legendary, very smart, intelligent leader become kind of villain of the week. But I guess someone has to do it since it can't be Darth Vader. But it was good. He actually had Hera in his grasp. And then, of course, he ends up losing her. I don't know. I just wish that they gave Thrawn more to do. And then it was so cool to have Tarkin talk about Stardust. I thought that was really cool. Nice little name drop. And if you read a lot of the canon books, Rebels is nice because it gives you what the movies don't give you, which is payoffs from reading other books and for paying attention to all the canon that's going on within the time period that they're in. Because hearing about Krennic is I read Catalyst. I don't know if you guys read Catalyst, but I feel like I read Catalyst before I saw Rogue One, and reading Catalyst makes Rogue One so much better. It gives Krennic so much more depth, and so to hear them talk about Agent Krennic is just super cool and very interesting. But overall, so the episode, it was a good episode. And it's odd because I was watching Rebels Recon and I was reading the comments and everyone's really sad and they thought the episode was excellent. But it didn't really hit for me. I understood Kanan's death. I understood that he needed to become Caleb Dume again and accept his fate. And he knew what he had to do in the mission. And I think maybe that's why he gave Ezra the lead in the mission, because he knew that he needed to die, and maybe if he had the lead in the mission, maybe somehow he would avoid that or be too afraid to accept his fate. I'm not sure. But by the looks of it, it looks like he's a Loth Wolf now. And these 2 episodes were just so spiritual in the Force. And I don't know. I don't love the Loth Wolves as everyone else. I think it's fun to explore that part of the Force, connecting with animals and with the Loth Wolves, and especially because Ezra, that's kind of like his special Force power, like how he connects with animals. But it's okay. They're not my favorite part of Rebels, and I think maybe they got rid of Kanan because they knew that Ezra kind of needs to go on his own journey now. Like Ezra, in order for Ezra to take the next step from Padawan to Jedi Master, he had to let his Jedi Master go. And I think that's part of the reason why. And 2, they needed Kanan to accept his fate, which he did. And I feel bad for Hera. She's had a lot of loss in her life. I know that the Twi'leks have had a lot of loss in their culture. But I don't know. When it comes to Hera, she's another character that I wish they did more with her. She's kind of like mom on a bus, She's always just the one who's kind of driving everyone around, and they've definitely given her more action this season, so I've been enjoying that. Here's my deal with Zeb and Sabine. I understood that after they killed Kanan, you feel some type of way. You're very upset that they killed your best friend. I mean, this is the Rebels crew. They have all these goals and things to do, but when you watch them, they kill stormtroopers like it's nothing. Like stormtroopers are just helmet and body, and they don't have a person on the inside. It's like you've killed so many stormtroopers, but they kill one of your friends and you feel, I don't know, I just didn't like that part. I feel like it was almost laughable. It's like you're diminishing the people who are inside those suits, who are just part of the academy because that's what they were told to do. Like that's the Empire. I didn't like that. I didn't appreciate that. Because you can't have this long, sad scene and then tell us that the people in the stormtrooper armor mean nothing. So I wasn't a big fan of that. I mean, overall, like I said, I don't know what it was with the tone. This episode just didn't hit for me like it did with everyone else. It was just like trying to be silly and spiritual and sad, and they got the violins. It didn't work for me. Don't get me wrong. I am going to miss the hell out of Kanan. Kanan is a really cool character because he's different than something that we've had before. He's different than the Jedi we've had in the past. A lot of the Jedi were very cocky, very arrogant. Not all of them, but they all had a lot of confidence about their abilities and their place in the galaxy. And Kanan's a different type of Jedi. Now we can call him Caleb Doom, right? He's a different type of Jedi, and in the beginning of the story, how he dealt with Ezra, it's hard to train someone when you're not accepting of your role yet. And I really enjoyed his relationship with the crew and his balance, and I'm gonna miss him. I'm sad to see him go. I think we're all aware that he was gonna die because, you see A New Hope and it's like Luke Skywalker's the guy. What's going to be interesting is what's going to happen to Ezra. So now, Kanan's always been the center for Ezra, to always keep him from going off the edge, or to remind him to quiet his mind and see the situation for what it is. And I feel like he's trained him really well, but I don't know what's going to happen to him. Like, is he going to die? Is he going to go somewhere else in the galaxy? Is he going to turn bad? And I don't know. It's so fascinating. I think that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most, is seeing where Ezra's story ends. So it's sad that we lose Kanan, but if it's a sacrifice for us to get to where Ezra's going, I'm all in, because he's very powerful and he has a lot to offer the Star Wars universe. And if he doesn't die, it's like, whoa, it's crazy. Like, I'm thinking about it now. If he doesn't die, he could be in one of the new live action shows. or he could have his own novel or book, or he can show up later. And who knows, like, meet Luke. There's so much we don't know. I get so excited. It's like nerdgasms. So I'm really pumped. Didn't love this episode that much, but I'm incredibly excited about what's going to happen in the next couple weeks. It's so cool that Ezra got this map to a Jedi temple, and I'm sure maybe we'll see Yoda there. Maybe that's where he runs into the Emperor. You know, in the previews they show Ezra with the Emperor. That might be it. That might be the moment where they run into each other, because who knows, the Emperor, I know, is trying to go to a lot of these Jedi temples and collect artifacts. Like, he and Vader are kind of obsessed with doing those sort of things. So I would bank on that. And maybe that's how they meet. So overall for the episode, I would probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I understood that Kanan needed to die. I didn't love the way that it happened. It was kind of coincidental. You know, it was like, Kanan died, but the mission was accomplished on Lothal. Like, I guess. I think Dave Filoni is a genius, and I would love it if he actually did a Star Wars film, or if he does a Star Wars live action TV show. But I just don't think that this was for me, it wasn't his best work, but maybe it's because I don't love the spiritual side of Star Wars that he delves into, and I kind of prefer, you know, more of the war in the Star Wars. So that's just how I feel. That's my review. Thanks, guys.